Yeah, it's the kid. This is the Not Snowboarding Podcast with GBP. At the kid again. So ACC.
That's hard.
This episode is brought to you by Seven Springs Mountain Resort. I've told this story on previous podcast episodes, but I live walking distance from another mountain, and yet I choose to drive about 3 hours one way to Seven Springs as often as I possibly can, just because Seven Springs is totally committed to building world-class parks and pipes. Speaking of their pipes, next Saturday is the Oakley Mini Pipe Challenge. This is my personal favorite contest every year. There's no rules, no divisions, no fees, just a 2-hour mini pipe jam featuring hips, channel gaps, and wall rides. The contest is sponsored by Oakley, Snowboarder Magazine, Crab Grab, Willys, and my company, Shred Soles. The following week, from February 24th to 26th at Seven Springs, we'll be hosting the first ever The Not Snowboarding Podcast Camp, or TNSP Camp. We rented out a big house at the bottom of the hill just a few steps from the snow. Besides snowboarding, we have a ton of fun stuff planned, including a fancy catered dinner, roller skating, 2018 demo boards for campers to try out, and we still have 3 open spots left. If you want to join us, just shoot me an email at nate@shredsoles.com. It's only $350 for 2 nights lodging, including your lift tickets, Friday night's dinner, and the street cred of being able to say that you were at the very first ever TNSP camp. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone that pre-ordered the new Shred Soles skate insole. All of the pre-orders have shipped and should be arriving by the time you listen to this, if not sooner. In order to get the pre-orders out on time, we had to skip the retail packaging on just the first couple of hundred. If you're just tuning in for the first time and you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, besides podcasting, I run an insole company that makes snowboarding and skateboarding insoles, and we're in the process of launching the new skate model. We spent tons of time developing this as something that provides impact resistance and support while maintaining board feel, and of course, they're super comfortable. As we have a few more of the unpackaged skate insoles to sell, I'm continuing the promotion of 30% off through the end of this month. And that discount is actually valid for everything on the site. Just go to www.shredsoles.com and use the code SKATE at checkout. That's SKATE. Oh, and according to my neighbor that doesn't actually skate, they're a lifesaver for being on your feet all day while doing HVAC installations. Enough with the shameless self-promotion. Timothy Leary once said, "Turn on, tune in, drop out." I think that's an appropriate precursor for this conversation. That phrase was misinterpreted by a whole generation of people that thought it simply meant get stoned and abandon all constructive activity. Decades later, Timothy attempted to set the record straight by explaining that turn on meant to go within, to activate your neural and genetic equipment, become sensitive to the many and various levels of consciousness and the specific triggers that engage them. Tune in meant interact harmoniously with the world around you, externalize, materialize, express your new internal perspectives. Drop out suggested an active, selective, graceful process of detachment from involuntary or unconscious commitments. Drop out meant self-reliance, a discovery of one's singularity, a commitment to mobility, choice, and change. Let's jump right into the discussion with Nico, Dylan, Josh, the kid, Tyler, and Max.
Gosh, now to the promised land. Yeah. Make a step down to Asmara. Then we stop in Addis Ababa. Made our way to Shashamani land. Riding on the King's Highway to the promised land.
Nate, what's up?
Yo, what's going on?
How's it going?
It's going really well.
We have some background noise.
Should we turn this off? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. It's a good movie though.
Well, we got our nice fire. It's hella cozy.
I got a fire too.
We got 2 fires going. Oh, there we go. How's that?
Well, that sounds really good. What were you guys watching on TV?
War Dogs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen War Dogs.
I don't mean either. It's really fun to watch it.
Is it about guns?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about these 2 dudes that start pretty much you go on this one website at the. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. Pretty much you go on this website and you can buy like all like overstocked military stuff like guns or anything, ammo, guns or anything, and they start small with like the crumbs of it.
Government Planet, like, governmentplanet.org.
Stuff like that. Their way up into doing.
Oh, that movie is so sick. I love that.
But it's like fully legal what they're doing.
It's legal?
Yeah, and you just have to see the movie, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They're just like hustlers from Miami.
Yeah, I think the website or a website that's real similar is called governmentplanet.org.
Yeah.
ORG. Yeah, I'd look at it and look at like crazy old military vehicles all the time.
Yeah, sell anything from tanks, bazookas, AK-47s, ammo.
You can buy that on that website?
Or just on the movie? Think you might be able to, or it might be what they, in their case, the government was looking for those things. You know, they posted like, okay, we need this amount of guns, and then these small dogs, they like go out and find like a supply where they can get that, like the, you know, to where they can get the guns. They outsource it and then link up with them. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Did we see how the anonymous hackers fucking shut down the website that was selling the percussion grenades to the Dakota Pipeline Police?
Really?
Yeah,
that's tough.
Like yesterday.
When are they going to get rid of my debt?
Real life.
What?
When are they going to get rid of what?
When are the anonymous hackers going to get rid of my debt?
That was gnarly. That photo of that lady with her arm. Did you see that?
Yeah, losing her arm to go from New York.
That's so gnarly.
Yeah, Terrence is gone. He told me that 2 days ago.
Yeah. I want to try to, like, if somebody had like a trailer with like supplies, I'd try to tow it out there for him.
Yeah, he wanted to take the heater, the propane heater from Sababa Land and take it up there. And I was like, I just leave that there and buy one.
Wait, which one, mine?
Yeah.
What, a little buddy?
No, I got the big buddy.
Damn,
the big
buddy.
With the
Propane Paradise?
Go up there to the pipeline and like burn some probe.
Propane
Right.
You know, I think that's what I feel bad about is like burning some diesel to go to
get
protest an
Yeah,
oil pipeline.
Dude,
You can take. Where's the bus?
Yeah,
Hop on the bus.
Yeah, we could go
Dude,
Vegetable
the
oil.
other night you're just like sitting on the couch, kind of lost, and you're like thinking about going to that protest up there. You're like, but I don't know about like burning all that diesel to get there. Like, it might be like
Spray with a hose, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it might be
super
like
cold,
wet,
like
using a lot of oil, like gas, just to get there. So it's not really helping.
No, I mean maybe I can find biodiesel
You're thinking about it pretty hard, huh?
station that's got some biodiesel.
About just hop on the road 9 o'clock at night.
So let's go around the room and introduce everyone because people are going to be listening to this and try to hopefully differentiate the
Decipher
voices.
different voices.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start this way.
I'll start. What's up? It's Nico.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Josh or Nardington. I don't know.
Did you find the chupacabra?
I did find
That was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
Legendary
Yeah,
chupacabra.
it's kind of
It's a
fame.
kid, Zach. A kid. And Tyler over here.
I am Max.
Sick. So I'm sitting here, the Gremlin GBP. Not everyone. Of course. This is how many?
This is
How many?
fourth?
A fourth of.
I don't know.
Wait,
I don't know. How many
Close.
people? Of how many?
Yeah.
Fourth. Yeah.
There's no count.
It's like 100.
Oh no.
100.
No, they're everywhere. Kinda.
Yeah. All I'm saying there's like 40 maybe.
Holy shit.
This is a solid group, though.
Yeah, this is a good base.
This is a
core
group.
This is a core bus group.
Yeah, me and Tyler and Zach and Nico.
The only core
Dave
bus
won.
member I'm missing is Dubbers.
Yeah.
He's a key player in the bus.
Yeah.
Matt's just working. That's a very good person.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the bus, like what for people that don't know, what was the bus or what's the bus?
The bus has a good story. I don't remember exactly what was happening, but it was me, Max, our homie Dubbers, and Reno late night peeled. And then our homie Dubbers didn't drink maybe at the time and found the bus online. It was like 5 a.m, put us in the car. Me and Max went with him, woke up in Salt Lake at like a karate spot, got the bus. And he's like nice with mechanical shit, and I had the money, so I had to go. So he was looking at
Dubbers, he asked me, he just wanted me. He's like, "Is this a good thing?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a Cummins. It's $4,000." Went and drove it. It was good. And then we hung out there for a while. I think Nico bought some couches for it. We gutted it.
Yeah, stripped that shit.
We stripped it while we were out there, didn't we? At Cam's?
I think so.
Saved all the metal though to reuse for the actual.
We went straight to Colorado.
Yeah,
How did we sync up, though? We were
Vermont,
somewhere else.
You drove out like a day after.
Yeah.
I think you met us in Salt Lake.
Yeah, but we bought it off like a Taekwondo academy.
Oh, and that's when Sponzo. We never had a Sponzo.
No, I didn't come with him. I thought we met. I thought we were like already in Colorado, and then you guys drove it there, and then we picked up
Kid at the airport. I remember that.
That was back. That was like editing the movie in Rutland, and then like got picked up in the bus for like the Denver premiere.
Basically, what happened is we did a trip to Hood the summer before, and we had like 4 or 5 cars. And it was such a shit show because just organizing going places with 4 or 5 cars was just like too hard.
Yeah.
Like, it was always waiting on somebody, and then we decided we wanted it to be smooth if we had like a van or a bus or something to just get everybody in.
Also, Dave's RV, but
we call it the Sun Up.
Dave's RV was kind of like
Cake Dave?
Yeah, and it was, our RVs are RVs, and they're not quite like a bus.
Yeah, you can fit a lot more people.
You can fit more people on a bus, and it's a little more industrial.
Yeah, Max had the diesel knowledge to like kind of point us in that direction.
And basically the veggie oil thing was from the beginning. It was like we're not just going to like get a tour bus and just be paying gas, knowing that Max had done the veggie oil before. That's when Dubbers started looking for the diesel bus versus a gas one, because we
gas
was, like,
RV or something.
We knew like right off the bat, try to do the whole conversion. Yeah.
So why did you want to convert like the diesel or biodiesel, or
more or less for like free fuel, because you can just like steal it or hook it up from behind restaurants, and also for like end of the world aspects, because then like if shit hit the fan, you can just run basically anything through the diesel engines.
I basically when did we get the bus? 2012.
It was right before
2012.
Yeah,
and so
it was 2012.
I mean, a little backstory of like my history with vegetable oil was 2005 was Snowboard Magazine. I went on a grease not gas trip across the country.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was my first, and it was with Mike Parziel and Ben Fee, and like Scott Stevens is his first like trip across the country to Snowboard Magazine. And the first time I really heard about it was Scotty Whitlake, and they were like, you put vegetable oil under your engine." And I was like, "Huh, that's cool." And I thought they were talking about just your motor oil and not actually running it as a fuel through your.
He's like talking about Area 51 and just cuts out.
I think the kids finished up for right now. How was that?
Yeah, that last like 3 minutes, I would hear you guys start a sentence and then it would just cut out. It was almost like it was tuned into your voice. It was really crazy.
I still think it's the government. Aliens of the government talking about a new way of life. But that is, I mean, like you were saying, that's a good point. Like you go to a gas station and it's almost like out of your control. There's not that many electric charging like around the country, and there's not that many like.
There's not a lot of ethanol. I mean, like
like basically if the shit like happened, like you could take the motor oil out of any car and put it into the system in the bus and like run the bus off the motor oil too. So it's like not only like vegetable oil, but like motor
ATF,
oil or
hemp oil,
like anything.
Any oil-based fuel, kerosene. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that diesel can burn.
Yeah.
As long as you're like filtering any particulate matter out of the oil, motor oil, or ATF, automatic transmission fluid, then it's good to go.
I didn't know that.
You just don't want any metal or anything like that. It would like destroy your injectors.
Okay.
And then that's where the engine that we got, the Cummins, comes into play, because it's got like kind of infamous injectors, and that's like the type of stuff that Max.
It's got a Bosch P7100 injection pump.
Yeah.
For the diesel nerds out there.
Is it getting harder to find vegetable oil? I know I have a friend who has a company that has contracts with restaurants that he goes around and picks it up.
Absolutely, and I mean, when I was earlier on, when I was doing it, people were like, "Why don't you go around and collect it all?" And for my personal morals and who I am, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go and hoard a resource out of like capitalistic. I mean, and I might be stupid for it. There's probably people out there making money refining biodiesel, but I always was like, you know what? I'm going to take what I want or need, not what I want, but what I need to fill my tank. I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm going to continue my travels. I'm not going to hoard all the vegetable oil in the world.
And there's companies that put their bins there for them to dump the vegetable oil in, and then they take it, and you're not really allowed to.
Those are the ones you want to see.
The bin, basically the logistics of it is the bin. As soon as the oil goes into the bin, it becomes their property, and you're stealing from them, in essence.
So the restaurant can't even give it to you at that point.
Because they already have a deal with it.
Yeah, they have a deal with them. But sometimes we'd show up to a spot and we'd be like, we're traveling through, could we maybe get your veggie oil? And they're like, oh, we have this contract, but like, if it's just this one time, like, go ahead.
Oh, cool.
So that happened a couple times. People were like, yeah, whatever, take them.
Yeah, it's like just random employees that don't even know.
And sometimes the people wouldn't understand what we meant at all, and then we just go and take it anyways.
To realize it's best, just kind of go take it.
At this point, it's like becoming a commodity, though. And early on, the reason that in the early years of a diesel engine that never was, Rudolph Diesel ran the first diesel engine on peanut oil or whatever. And there's a whole story of it, what he ran up first. But if, it was easier to drill a hole in the ground and pump oil out then than it was to grow like an acre of oil-producing crop for a gallon of vegetable oil,
Right, yeah.
It's just different times, and like now we are where we are. And
yeah, that's becoming more scarce. That like going into the ground, and it's probably harder on our environment.
Yeah, and like that's becoming more known, and then like that there are other options, and it's just we all know it's just stuff's getting suppressed on that, different.
Yeah, and the price of petroleum and all that stuff's been going up and down right now. I think because they know that a change is coming. The prices drop because they see so many Teslas
and like
on the
Teslas,
road.
Teslas,
making them scared. And it's all the price of it is all speculators on Wall Street. Of the supply and the demand of crude oil. It's like they know that it's not. People aren't going to run their.
Been seeing so many Teslas around lately. Yeah. Like I saw one in Boreal parking lot today. I was so surprised, just like driving through the snow.
They got the X.
Is that 4-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like an SUV and it's kind of lifted, I think.
This one was a car, but I have seen the SUV looking ones.
Yeah, it's not SUV looking. Weren't we driving behind one today?
Yeah.
There's been mad of them around, like a lot of them.
Well, they have that factory in
Reno now.
Yeah, they got a charging station right down the street here.
Yeah, I've seen a couple next to the Safeway.
Yeah, and there's one right next to the Drunken Monkey sushi place right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Reno's got the huge. It's going to be the biggest factory in the world.
It looks like Back to the Future when you see like the Tesla sign. It's so sick.
In Reno?
No, just the one near 5050 and
Does that just have like a normal plug in it?
No.
It's sick as heck.
Yeah, I think it's special.
But I remember, like, you were saying, like, the price of oil going up and down. I remember someone saying a barrel of oil will never be cheaper than, like, $100 or whatever.
And it was, like, 40 or 50 this year.
Yeah, it ended, like, in the price of, I remember the price of gas going to, like, 5 something or, like, and then it just keeps, like, it's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone all over.
Diesel kind of stays more stable across the nation, too.
Okay.
It's interesting that they are.
Well, it's probably because it's mainly used for just, like, the truckers.
Yeah.
So you have to.
It's cool that it's cheaper than the cheapest gasoline done right now.
Also, when we did the whole conversion thing, we knew that it wasn't realistic for like everybody to get a diesel engine and convert to run off veggie,
Right.
It's just not even like possible. There's not enough fuel, but we just felt like it was a cool step to just show that we're doing like anything like we can to even like make a effort towards like a more sustainable option,
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily like we were trying to say like, oh, everybody should do this. It was more or less like we're lucky enough to have Max around that knew about it, and then all of us that were down to like be a part of like the bus life shit. And then if we could also do it like more sustainably, it was just like, yeah, sounds awesome. Yeah.
Well, I think it was really cool to like just that idea of like traveling around the country and going snowboarding is kind of like a dream of at least a lot of people that get into snowboard. They want to go different places.
It was like the toughest time you could possibly go out in like June, February.
Yeah, as far as like driving a bus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Who drove the bus?
Yeah, like trying to
vegetable
snowboard.
oil, like, I mean, it was rugged.
You drove it?
Yeah.
Have you driven buses and stuff?
I drove like big trucks at the river company here.
Okay.
And I don't know. I like anything with wheels.
Yeah.
I've driven Ferraris and buses and then after all that, I drove the bus here and I would like drive into San Fran, parallel park it and all this. And then I got a job. I got a job driving a bus for a band actually through the experience of like driving this bus.
What band?
BT&T.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sick.
Hippies.
Did they convert their bus like you guys?
No, David, the violinist, he's from actually Burlington and he's a bus dude. He's had him for like 10, 15 years and he knows this guy from like this thing called the Sustainable Roadshow or something. This guy Jonathan, in the Bay Area, and they do like the whole they're crazy Burning Man people as well. And they for them on tour they have to be on time so often that it's hard for them to like collect oil and do all that nowadays.
So you guys had maybe a looser schedule?
Yeah, we were on our own program.
Yeah, there was no schedule really.
Yeah,
none.
Just vibing. We just had to get back to Vermont for
the end of the world.
The end of the world.
For the end of the world.
Yeah, and then it kind of felt like it once we got to Vermont. I'd say it was the best time of my life.
How long were you guys on? How long was the whole trip?
It was a while.
Back
2 months at least.
It was like 2 months.
Well, it's because basically, with the drive to where it was like down to Huntington and then across was pretty quick because we had that deadline.
Yeah.
And then we spent some time on the East Coast. How long? Like a good couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then the trip back, we kind of had like no plan like that. Just took our time. And
Okay.
It was another
SIA.
like 2 weeks or something.
How many of us were
We just wound up in SIA like mid-January.
It fluctuated because you were like, how long were you on the bus?
Well, I was filming for Forum or Justin, I forget who, so I didn't do trips. So I just fly in, fly out, and meet up with them.
Oh, sick.
At that time. I wish I stayed on it the whole time.
He couldn't.
So bummed out.
He always say that he spent the most time on the bus, but in fact he didn't.
Who spent the most time?
He would always claim that he spent the most time on it.
You're like, I have?
Complete delusion.
I was there day one.
He was balancing out the carbon footprint by taking some flights.
Yeah, you can't be too nice with it.
You mentioned getting back to Vermont for 2012, like the end of the world, and you've dropped some hints at like some consciousness shift, change coming stuff. There's some people that think that the 2012 Mayan calendar thing was about not the end of the world, but a shift in consciousness. Do you guys have any thoughts or feelings around that?
Definitely. I feel like that was something too, just hand in hand with like that, the whole veggie oil conversion, being in that mindset and on the drive, spending so much time. It's like we felt like we were like feeling the motivation of like moving towards that. So that was part of the conversation along the drive, spending time like that. And just in general, I feel like between our friends, we've noticed it become more like, at least between our friends, it's more of a discussion and just something we're all shooting towards. And
yeah, we always talk about basically how like back, say like 50 years ago, like half the conversations that people have today would just never happen. And that's like a good way to see that there's definitely some sort of shift in just general like ideas. And for the most part, those ideas are like a consciousness shift towards like
just openness to like
just more like a one world type thing in like a good way though. Like everybody being connected instead of like,
and I see it with
like
you guys, I mean, like we talked about on the drive with Tyler going across country, he'd talk about like watching the grenade videos and like I used to work at Grenade and filming those videos and like I was kind of a shitbag. I was like drinking way too much and all these kids grew up great with like I don't know the best role models, So I think that the kids who are like watching them now, and like their edits used to have like a lot of drinking or partying or whatever, and like people may say this, that, or that. What about about the Gremlins? But I think that people see that I mean everyone grows, and is always trying to move forward and become better people, and I think that is you can see that with
just like if that
me being older and like seeing them, it definitely is
progression.
They've grown.
I feel different.
Yeah. You feel different?
I moved here when I was 16 and it was wild. Now I feel pretty good.
Well, how wild?
Still a little wild.
What was wild back then? What was like?
I don't know. Like when we first moved here, I moved here when I dropped out of high school when I was 16 the day I could, I think, or 15. I moved here. Dylan flew out for his birthday. It was New Year's. I just got my first house with like all my older friends. And then he came out and was like, it was actually like sick.
No, that was when me and Shane drove out.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good story. You should tell that one, too.
Yeah, so our friend Shane Fortier, basically I was sitting on our friend's couch back in Vermont with everybody, and Nico got a phone call. And then, like, he's just, like, talking. He's like, oh, yeah, Dylan will do it, like, for sure. And then, like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And he hangs up, and he's like, yo, like, that was, like, Jake. He's, like, needs somebody to, like, drive his car across country because, like, one of the kids who was supposed to do it blew his knee out. Oh. And he's like, so I told him you would do it. And I was like, what? Like, and I was like, all right. I, like, basically, like, wanted to kind of. And then he's like, yeah, you just got to go pick up this kid Shane in New Hampshire before you go. So I go and, like, pick up this kid I've never met before, Shane. The whole time I'm talking to him on the phone, he's all like, and I'm like, oh, damn, this kid sounds so sketchy. Like, I have no idea. He takes me, like, in the middle of nowhere, like, picking him up in, like, literally the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. And then I finally meet him, and he was actually sick. That's why he sounded so sketchy on the phone. Okay. And then we drive across country together in this other kid's car who's already out here, like, with Nico at this time. Shane, I found out halfway through the trip, doesn't even have his license because he got a DUI when he was, like, under 18. And then he's, like, driving. We're, like, basically the car shuts off, like, as we're on the highway, like, multiple times. We're, like, don't know what's going on. Like jamming shit in the battery terminals and stuff to, like, try to, like, we didn't know what was happening. We made it to Tahoe. And then we find out that the car had, like, the wrong license plates on it to, like, a different car or something the kid owned. And, like, the kid Jake's like, oh, I can't believe you guys made it. And I'm like, okay, like. Yeah, and then that kid Shane, like, none of us even really knew him. And then I like, you know, chilled for the week or two and then flew home. And then Shane was, like, moving out and didn't know anybody but ended up just living with Nico because their house, like, fell through that they were trying to get. And then Shane just, like, ended up being one of, like, now he's just, like, one of the homies forever. Sick. Yeah. And then that was the first year that he actually progression. It was moved here, yeah.
Then he came out, Shane came out, then Kid came out right after that, and Tyler maybe graduated high school. Hopefully.
Tyler went to Colorado that first year.
Yeah. Then there's like 10 of us from Rutland where I grew up.
Why do you guys have to get out of Vermont? Vermont's pretty cool.
Vermont's the LS. Just not enough snow is the main reason. It's like shitty, like cold winters, and we just knew there's like better pow out here and bigger mountains.
I'll be back there someday. Yeah, we're gonna move back soon.
Really?
Like, next 5 years, probably.
I'm not.
Move back to Rutland? Or?
We're going to buy land out there for sure.
That's Nico's 5-year plan, is to move home.
I'm not moving home, we'll buy land.
Sababa Land East Coast?
Yeah.
No, Lemmy's already got Sababa Land East Coast going.
Yeah, Theo
Where?
In
Vermont? Yeah, Lemmy has like over 100 acres back in Vermont.
Whoa.
That he just got like actually in his name. He definitely wants to do all like the earthships and stuff long term. Yeah. So in his mind, he's like, yeah, like we got the spot for an East Coast Sababa Land thing. Get it going.
Sick. So what is like people that don't know fully what Sababa Land is? What's a good way to explain it?
Tyler,
I'd say, yeah, from my perspective on it, or like my whole view on it is basically like a land to have like a testing grounds for us to start learning more about like sustainability and permaculture and building like the sustainable homes and just trying to learn more about all those, like just aligning with nature more. It's like a spot that's out of cell phone service, so you definitely like you're deep out in the woods and you get that feel of being just like back to the basics, you know. And it's old gold mining property, so it's got some cool history in the area. And yeah, it's definitely just been a learning experience. 3 summers now.
Yeah, basically it's kind of like we've always had like flop houses in Tahoe, and that's like the main reason why we've all been able to stay out here for so long is because we kind of like
That's what I see.
Rely on each other when we like don't have a different
house.
and you can always like go to the other homie's house and crash there or something. And then now that we got this property out here, it's kind of like a way to always have a home base out here. So then no matter what, whoever, whenever, whatever situation they're in, they could always go there and know that that's like a place they can do whatever. And then hopefully as the years progress, we'll have like a good enough setup there so there'll be always people there, and there will always be like you know,
food
like
growing through the winter.
Oh,
just
sick.
like water systems, a solar, like electricity,
and basically the learning aspect too of just like we wanted to just kind of like dive into it because we all like want to be like, oh yeah, like grow your own food and like live off the grid, but like we weren't doing it. So then it was like we had to get a place to like learn how to do that.
And like the bus even too was just such a proving grounds of like that taking a step forward. We kind of just jumped in on it with the bus, and it was such a group project and it worked. Like we we're all so hyped on it. So then like that, the land was like, you know, just get into it, and just like we know the power of like having a lot of friends work on something, how much you can get done.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like, you know, a big project, but it's cool to see it.
What's been the hardest piece of the project? Is there anything that just isn't coming together?
With Sababa Land?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been a slower process than I imagined because I've fully like dove in and basically kind of expected other people to be as involved as some of us has been.
It just
And
basically
it's hard
like
to,
takes money to
like,
be there.
People down there and
like people just like
that kind of work.
Just to be there for like a week straight, you got to think of like you're trying to not go to the store for that week, because going to the store is just this half hour of this crazy, windy, gnarly hill road, like just not a good drive. But so you're just, like always stocking up on food, and then right now we do end up running a lot of generators, so you have to have like gas stocked up for that, because then just different things like that. So you got to like have money to be there.
Yeah.
And so that's a like learning part about it too. And so like as you're trying to grow food, the reality of like growing enough food to eat and live off of, you got to be pretty damn set up and have perennials and have things growing all different seasons. And so it just takes money to be there. And like that, everyone's also trying to survive in Tahoe alone.
Yeah.
And takes money to, you know.
Yeah, it's like everybody can barely survive like with all the like the goodness of like Babylon. And it's like get them down in the woods, they barely make it a few days.
They're down there for a few days.
No cell phone service.
Isn't there leftover gold there for you?
Oh yeah.
I found my first flake at Sababa Land. Second day.
Yeah,
all the locals basically make fun of us. They're like, "How come you guys don't gold mine? Like, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. You don't even like mine." They're just like, because they're all like miners. It used to have like the population up there now is like a couple hundred, and it was at 20,000 during its heyday in the gold mining days. And so it's like a legit. Like
actual
gold mine area.
mines, like you can walk into on the land.
Yeah, on the property there's like at least 100 yards straight tunnel,
like,
and then it branches
tunnels,
out and does a Y, and there's like a little like water.
And there's the river that you can mine.
Yeah, and
you can pan for gold.
Oh yeah.
Have you gotten enough to like sell from panning or
no? See, we like haven't really done it. But then like everybody who lives up there, that's like all they do. Like all the old people, and they're always like just telling us like how much gold has come out of our creek, and like the like basically like why aren't you guys like doing it?
We've been picking up some good techniques though. You learn from the locals like all the techniques to finding it, you know, like what to look for, and so like it just takes some time. We got to get into it, but I think we get some gold.
His gold mine, and it was like so big and like all like had like supports and shit, and just like the whole thing lit up like mad deep into like a mountain and shit, just like so official. And he had the huge like thing for like sifting everything, but like even at that rate he's like not like pulling out like stupid gold, you know, and he's like doing it like, so it's kind of like hit or miss.
I think Rafe was telling me you make like $10 an hour like on an average day gold mining.
If you know it.
Like panning, casual
flakes.
Okay. Just like
But
basically.
he has a
like
sluice box too, and Rafe brought the sluice box down to our stream and just like set it in there and like I mean, it's probably not in there too proper right now, but a logo's telling us you set one of those up just through the winter because that's when all the water's coming down. And by the spring, you'll probably like, you know.
Just come back from it, right?
So what's a sluice box?
It's just like this little like tray type, like a long tray that has like an opening up top with like different.
It's kind of like a big cheese grater.
Yeah, like a cheese grater type thing. It's got backwards like grated, so like it catches heavier things as the water goes over it.
It's got like different size, like grading kind of. So
and it's wide at the top and like gets the water to go faster through it.
Basically, just gold's heavy, and so it all drops through to the bottom and stays, and all the other stuff gets pushed through by the water.
Okay.
So like the gold and then the iron will always drop through.
So you could come back in the spring and there could be some gold.
Yeah,
That's what we were told.
there could be a nugget.
Yeah, that one day.
But they're like,
pop that out of his neck.
Kai down at Beach Hut, he had the technique. He was like, I'll get you guys a lead thing. He's like, you paint the piece of lead, and if it sticks, then you know you got it set good. He's like, setting it proper is like the biggest thing. Like the right amount of water going over it, and like, we gotta get one of those lead.
That 1 year at Redneck games, still remember the 1 year at Redneck games, that one dude just had the huge nugget, he just like kept it as a nugget and just put it on his chain. Some old head from around the way.
Yeah,
Where
basically
we live at Iowa Hill, they have Redneck games, and the people coming out of the woodworks is so fun.
What's he doing?
Wait, in Vermont?
No, where we're at in the property.
Oh, Sababa. Okay.
Iowa Hill.
What's redneck games?
It's like
axe throwing.
Oh,
Chicken bingo.
It's kind of like a little
real act
fair.
Moonshine people are making is $1 a shot.
Forced to drink moonshine as much as we can.
When's redneck games?
It just happened.
It's in like October.
Okay.
Every year. We did the axe throwing last year, and everybody choked basically except for me. Held the down squad.
Don't you throw axe?
Did you take?
I did. I had a weak elbow.
Nico choked.
Did you take the win?
I'm not gonna lie, the moonshine got to me. I was faded going into it. I made a few.
Nico literally scared the crowd.
I
bounced towards the crowd. Off the side.
Did they do a toilet seat?
What was it?
You know, like I can just
toilet seat.
Horseshoes to the toilet seat, and then they also do wood. They do wood cutting or chopping.
Well, they do a log splitting contest where they get a bunch of green rounds, like 5, and then
these dudes are animals.
Yeah, they cut like a hole in a piece of plywood that's only like maybe 6-inch diameter, and then the rounds are like, you know, over a foot, and then you gotta chop them and put them through the plywood as fast as you can, and so all the necks go hard on that, and it's like
He's gotta fit through the little hole too. It's a certain size hole.
Yeah, and it's not easy because the wood's all fresh and doesn't split, basically.
When I was in Utah, I announced a contest that had like a demo of like woodsman or timber sports or whatever. So it was like axe throwing and like sawing and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they got some people from the crowd and they got these kids to come up and do it. And one of the kids like got scared and ran away. And then Alex Andrews was there and he ran in and like was doing it with them.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, I mean, why can't every event have that? I mean, the Bone Zone does it. You guys like chop wood and do that stuff to like build Sababa Land, right? Like,
Yeah, and to survive the heat.
And survive the heat. You know, it's something we all do. Like next Gremlin games, like axe throwing.
That's a good call.
That's a good call.
That's a good
I didn't
call.
even
Yeah.
That's good.
Fuck, we got a brainstorm over here.
Nico was pressing me to cut wood the other day, but then I thought you were just making me do work for him.
No, I was trying to split wood. I've been splitting wood for the last
and then it's just him getting me to do the work for him.
Yeah, right. I've been
see what's
splitting wood
going on.
every day for the last 4 months, and
Every
Nard
hour
comes
and a half
down.
getting the fire going.
I line up like 3 of them. He misses all 3. Then next time comes through, hits one, splits it, and just nails my truck so bad. A new truck. I was so pissed.
I had some serious muscle behind that.
You're weak out there.
Nard, when he first came down to Sababa too, he would just go so hard on the tools, like just the axe and the pickaxes and the shovels, and not know how to use them. He snapped like 4 tools. And, like, he'd be like hitting like the handle like against like a rock, trying to like pick the dirt behind it, but it like wouldn't like stop before you even hit the dirt.
Or instead of getting around the rock, I just tried chopping the rock in half or something.
Yeah.
It was aggressive.
Basically, we learned with Sababa that like most of our friends don't know how to use basic tools. That's for sure.
Has anybody wintered over up there?
No, not really.
Is there
so rough.
We go down there like maybe for a couple days here and there throughout the winter.
If it snows up here, if it snows up in Tahoe, there's chain control before that, and you'll get like stuck. You wouldn't be able to make like a pow day at Sugar Bowl or something if you're down there. If you wanted to be there at 7.
We basically have never been set up until this year.
Yeah.
We probably could pull it off, but other years we never had like cured chopped firewood ready for the winter. So we like learned that the hard way. Trying to start fires with like fucking green wood and just like not being prepared. But this year we were super prepared, and we could go down there right now and we have dry wood and the cabins all sealed up. So it's possible nowadays, but
hopefully this year we'll actually be down.
Yeah, we're still not toughing it out, which the Lokes know, and they definitely don't give us much respect for that fact that we dip out for the winter.
Yeah,
they call you soft or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it's soft.
Yeah,
like they're
the people
telling.
up there are so like old school, like it's like just like stuck in that like time
What does the
period.
shirt
Like,
say?
there's,
I
like, a little
survived
bar
Iowa
up there.
Hill.
My neighbor, eye patch, gun on his hip, shirtless, every single day.
That's awesome.
And he walks 40 goats. And first time I met him on dirt biking, he's walking 40 goats, just eye patch, sick ass hat on, gun on his hip.
And like mad old.
He shot himself this year by accident.
Yeah, he shot
In the
himself.
hand.
He shot himself through his hands.
oh,
I just rubbed dirt on it.
No.
What? Not even kidding.
I survived Iowa Hill.
Someone gave him that t-shirt.
How many cars were crashed last summer?
I totaled my truck up there.
Ange, you,
Johnny.
John. There's a
That's
couple
different
car
zone,
crashes.
though. That's
why so many car crashes?
People trying to jump them and just
Yeah.
do good shit.
When you get up there, you feel like there's no rules whatsoever. You can do whatever you want once you
And
get
once
up
you
there.
start going up the hill, it's like
You'll never see a cop. You'll never have anyone say shit to you. It's weird if you see someone on the road some days.
Yeah.
If you don't, you'll know their car.
Yeah, if you don't know the car, I stop and like check people sometimes. Ask if are you guys lost? Where are you guys going?
But it's cool because it's only a half hour from the 80 and like an hour from Sacramento. But the road to get from the 80 to the property is basically like this down a canyon, up the mountain on the other side,
scary.
and it's like no guardrails with like 1,000-foot drop to the river.
Oh,
So that's why like nobody
It's a little
goes
like
up
Great
there,
Wall
you know?
that just like keeps people from coming up there.
yeah. Especially in the winter.
Some parts of the
sketchy.
road just as wide as your car, and it's like people coming up and down.
Yeah, you gotta,
local
like-
speeding.
So my neighbor
Redneck
was pregnant with her car coming downhill and almost head on me. Like, wow.
Mary's wheel fell off.
Greg's
down it.
baby's mama.
Yeah, Henry.
Oh, Greg.
we saw like Tyler was the first one to see him, but like rattlesnakes. There.
Oh
It
my
sounds
god,
like-
the
A lot of
rattlesnakes.
rattlesnakes.
We had 4 sightings, 3 killings.
We had to kill 3
Unfortunately.
rattlesnakes because they were like up. Like, well, the first one was like in the shower.
The
The
first
outdoor
one was
shower.
in the shower. I was
Right.
literally
And I'm
pulled
not
the
so-
tarp and it was like
That's it.
right underneath me, jumped back, so all coiled up.
He was sipping on some water.
And this is a time I'm there by myself, so it was like I was so shook, like a whole different type of shook I've never experienced.
And like we have no service.
no
you know,
service,
like,
so
you're-
I was
So
like,
if you get bitten,
yeah, if
you
I
gotta
get
take
bit,
care of yourself.
you know, from all I know is like you only have so much time before you die. You start maybe like hallucinating. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
drive myself out.
yeah.
So I start really thinking it through, and I'm like, I go and I get like 5 pairs of pants on. Like, come to find out, they're like, that wouldn't have done shit. Like, 5 pairs of pants on.
Just you're trying to pad up
So
or
I
whatever.
got 5 pairs of pants on. I get this like a big hoe, and I'm like going over to it, and right before I do, I'm like, fuck, like this isn't a good idea. Like I'm gonna go get service, call Nico because he was closest to us in service.
Yeah.
And he can dirt bike over in like less than 10 minutes or so. So I go up, call him, I'm like, yo, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to kill it, but like, I feel like I should because like Thumper and like, we can't really have rattlesnakes around, you know?
Oh, Thumper's the dog.
Yeah, the dog, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it could be
And
just
he'll
sketchy.
just
And
like,
just right in
attack it.
camp. It was literally right in our shower. So then I go up, call Nico. By the time I get back there, Nico's pulling in same time. We go up, the snake's gone. So then that was like the first run in, and like so then I'm like, no, it's there. Snake. And then I'm like still there by myself for a couple more days and like just fretting about this rattlesnake. And like finally these guys come back first thing in the morning. I'm like watering a plant and then look down and there's this rattlesnake right behind the plant. And like I'm like, jump back again. I'm like, yo, rattlesnake. And Dylan runs down, Johnny runs down. We're like, just start like game planning. Like, all right, like how are we gonna go about this? And it was just a little like team effort. Boom, boom. Johnny
like we basically like don't like never wanted to kill him.
Never wanted
basically
to.
Like
it was just like fuck. Like,
the dogs and the fact that like if we didn't and then somebody got bit, it's kind of like fucked. And like everybody else on the hill basically kills them when they see him.
Yeah, like at the one local store, they literally have like a rattlesnake tail, like wall of fame of like all the biggest tails. Like,
yeah, because like the rings on the tail, the rattles will be like they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's like how old they are.
Okay,
and so, like coming from Vermont, we don't have fucking rattlesnakes like that. No, like
not that you see.
So it was just like such a different type of like, what the fuck do you do about this?
And we got mountain lions. We saw mountain lions this year.
Yeah, so saw mountain lion. I'm driving in at night and just see right when I'm getting like the properties to my right, and it just runs in front of the car, boom, across up into the neighbor's yard. I'm like, oh my God, that just came from like 100 yards from where we are at camp. Go down there, so shook. Johnny and Zach are there. Thumper's out, like chasing something. So like I get down, like, yo, tell him, and they're like, damn, Thumper must have like chased that off just now because he was just up there. And I was just like, that was a whole nother fear to have to worry about down there now too. Like,
big cat.
Yeah.
Those things are walking around like this or something, protecting the back of the neck.
They're just fucking big. Like you see it in person, you're like, oh my God, there's lions that just live in the woods.
It's straight
like,
lions.
They're like
big cat.
Same as the fucking Africa ones. Like
yeah, you should show them the video of it.
Yeah,
it's so huge.
It's like, here's my phone.
Back to the rattlesnake. Did you guys eat it?
No,
I've had rattlesnake once.
We were like, I don't eat meat. Like most of us don't eat meat, but me, Johnny, and Zach were the ones there. Most of them we don't eat meat, but
we gave it a proper burial.
Yeah, we gave it a proper burial. Really, we didn't want to fucking do that.
It's gotta be a struggle,
It's not good.
Yeah,
and because my thing too is that I was thinking fucking like karma. Like I don't even want to kill a spider because I think more are gonna bite me.
Put them in a trash can and replace it. Throw them down.
Yeah, after this, we talked to more people and figured out ways we can
capture
them,
it and then
capture it, get away, and like
Yeah.
I wish I knew that now. But at the same time, running into it like by myself, no service, but
didn't know what to do.
Didn't really know what to do.
It's you or him.
Yeah, and most of the neighbors just have like guns and will just
they have
shoot them with
22s with the snake shot.
And they just take them out.
Yeah, the little 22 snake shot. I wish I had that.
So that was their suggestion, just fucking kill it.
Yeah, some people would get mad at you if you
didn't kill it because they think it'd go to their spot.
Oh,
they'd just be like, "Why didn't you kill it?" Like, look
You
at
put
this.
a trash can with a lid and take it far away, throw it down a cliff.
That's where I'm wanting to.
This is like right on the road up to the spot.
Take that fucking bridge over fucking Forest Hill.
Hey Dylan, Dylan, maybe put this on. Dylan, show me the video of the mountain lion.
That was on the way to the spot
on the Triple X Bridge.
And that was I saw one the day before that too, and then that it's probably the same one the next day.
Yeah, I've seen one right near the camping ground that's near there.
That's gnarly. That's I didn't realize. Sababa Land.
Late night, me and my girlfriend are on a different property, and I'm doing some shit in the garden, and she just runs up to me and she's like, "Do you hear that?" And I have my headphones in. I take them off, and it sounds like a girl is getting raped or killed down below us. And I was like, oh, my God, I don't know what we could do. It's a different property. And she's like, I don't know what we could do. We could literally do nothing. And we figure out it's a mountain lion screaming. The noise is sounds like a girl dying.
Yeah,
what?
A baby dying. Yeah,
my girl was freaking.
It's pretty fierce looking. It's big.
It
moves pretty.
They're definitely you can kind of see it's basically as long as half the road.
Yeah.
When the day before when I was driving and I pulled up and there's one ran across the road and instead of going down the bank on the other side, it started going along the side of the road and I was about to catch up to it in my car And I was even like scared to like pull up next to it because of how big it was. And I just like stayed back. I like didn't even want to like get like past it, you know? And then it like dipped off and was whatever, but they're no joke.
Trying to work with or around nature is a lot tougher than it seems. Like just interactions with animals. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you survive? What's the right thing to do? You know,
even like that too, where it's like we grew up in Vermont, and then a whole different just animals.
There's no animals to fear in Vermont,
and different plants like poison oak down there. And
and it wasn't in Vermont, right?
Realizing just basically getting to know
boys. I run with them oak boys.
Yeah, the poison oak we don't really have back east, and these guys get it so bad. Like
I fuck with it.
Nard basically has it all summer.
I have not gone.
I usually just let it chill. It's kind of like
the first year I literally didn't know what it looked like, and then it would take long.
Tyler gets it on his face.
But I've been taking it out like slowly but surely, getting it off the property of everywhere we hang out.
What, the oak boy?
Yeah, just chopping it out.
Them oak boys are cool.
Leave some left for Nardi, man.
They have like parties on your arm, like when they all start popping off. And like, fuck, dude. Oak boy. Yeah, they have like a little Burning Man on your whole arm. You start getting it popping.
How many guys went to Burning Man?
Like 6, 7.
You were there, right?
Except for Nico.
Nico, you didn't go?
I'm not good in those kind of environments.
He has no self-control.
Oh, you would go too far?
Too hard.
I've never been. I've had friends go to Burning Man. I heard it's like, I've heard stories.
It's amazing.
I went for the first time this year.
How was it?
Because these guys had gone twice on the bus the 2 years before. I'd been at the land those 2 years and been like, oh, it just sounded so amazing. All the stories, you see the footage. So then finally, this year, Dylan actually got my ticket, got to go, and it was unreal. Just like,
wait, you have to get it. You have to get a ticket to go to Burning Man.
Oh yeah.
That's like the most un-Burning Man thing.
Yeah, they do a low income ticket, so then there's like a cheaper ticket, and there's like a certain time it gets sold, and you have to like write up a whole thing, reason why.
Did you do that? Or?
No, I actually didn't, because I didn't think I was going to be able to go. I thought, that time of year, got to be down at the land, and then, we were able to go. Dubbers held it down, and then.
It's so funny, though, the first time we pulled up, they, like, search your vehicle or whatever, and we got the bus, so they. Oh, yeah. Well, this is another aspect, too. So the first year, I wasn't even planning on going. Zach had a ticket. And wanted to take the bus, and then I was like driving the bus at the time. Max was driving the Beats Antique bus, so he couldn't drive it. Okay. So then they were like, "Yo, if you drive the bus, like Max has an extra ticket, And I was like, "All right, like let's do it." And then Zach's like, "But like Sean and Matt Zach have been helping me get ready, and like I told them we could like sneak them in if they like helped, So we're thinking we're gonna like." Put them under the bunks, Because
this is all of our very first time. Like,
none of us had been before.
Dylan, me,
and the security at the gate. Like I had been the year before, early arrival at the camp I go with. We give out lemonade to people, and so I went early arrival and we got there like 4 or 5 days early. But the security at the gate, it's not the cops that like look in your vehicle or whatever to make sure. They're basically just making sure you're not sneaking in people. Exactly what they were doing.
Okay, but you can almost bring anything in or like.
No, I mean, moop.
You can't take in.
They took all Zach's pine cones.
Yeah, or like they don't allow fireworks, like guns, fireworks. There's certain there are things that aren't allowed.
They don't like freaking shit that will like break
come in aren't look. They aren't the cops. They're like people from Burning Man from this thing called the DPW, like Department of Public Works, who set up all the line perimeter and all the streets and like actually do a lot of like. Surveying and crazy like planning.
Okay,
they're out there for like 2 months in advance. They're like these gnarly people who've been in the desert for like 2 months. They're kind of like fucking assholes.
Yeah,
and kind of intimidating.
It is really just like they actually like, check the whole shit out. Like they're like looking under shit,
looking to make sure you're not.
So basically, like I'm like, all right, like whatever, we're sneaking people in, and then. It all starts becoming like a reality, And I'm like, all right. I was like,
about the guy you
okay, D like jumps in the bus to that second, like acts like he has.
Yeah, Little B's like, oh no, somebody's got a ticket for me at the door. So basically, all of a sudden we got three people with no tickets on the bus, and then I'm realizing like these guys have like no plan, Like they just think like they're gonna like hide under the fucking covers or something, and like.
You gotta put a blanket over the head to get a nap.
But then we got the bunks, like the bottom bunks lift up so you can store stuff under them. So we're like, all right, we'll put them under there. And I was like, but like, let's do a legit. We'll drill them in, you know. So then, like, no matter what, they can't like lift the shit up to like look under it, and we'll just tell the people, yeah, like that's, you know, just built like it doesn't lift up.
Right.
And so
Blackwater,
Shangan, the one like youngest smote kid, is his job. Like the drill battery wasn't charged, so you know, so his job was to make sure it didn't fall off the charger as we were driving to Burning Man. We get there, of course, he didn't do his job. So the drill's like barely has any juice in it. We're like in line, like 2 cars away from like the checkpoint. I'm driving, switch seats out with Zach. He starts driving. Mm-hmm. I'm in the back trying to like drill these guys in with like this dead drill. It's like not going good.
We're like at the gate.
No, you
pulling
forgot
out.
good part of the
Like
story.
back there, like still like.
Yeah, we're like so close. And then like Little B and Shangan, like Little B's like he won like the like most going the hardest at Burning Man this year, but like basically he's underneath the same bed as Shangan doing a fucking whippet out of the cracker, and he like is twisting the thing on and it starts leaking everywhere, and it's like shh, and Shangan's like freaking out, and he's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, this shit's leaking everywhere. I've never done it. He's like, let me out of here. And Lil B's like laughing, you know. And then it's like, and they're like drilled in. So Shangan thinks he's about to get like high. Lil B's laughing, like trying to drill him in.
Matt's actually just like sleeping.
Yeah, he was like fine.
He wasn't fretting.
Basically, we like we get to the gate. You know, they like are checking the whole bus. The girl fully is like trying to lift up the thing, and we're like, no, it doesn't come up. She's like shining in the cracks with her light.
She's like, is this thing open?
Yeah, and like they're just fully like we're like think we might get caught, and like if they catch you trying to sneak somebody in, nobody gets in. Everybody on the bus is out. You know, and so the people with the tickets would have been fucked. And then so we get through the gate, but then they're like, hey, can you guys give this guy a ride in? Like he needs a ride in, you know.
He works there.
The gate's
well,
like
we don't
know,
far
you know, from like there. It's like a quarter mile or something from the actual like, city. So it's like the gates here. You still gotta like drive in.
Yeah.
So, like some random people get like dropped off. They need like a ride just from there. And we already had picked a random guy up at Walmart.
And he didn't know we were sneaking people in either until it was going down. Yeah. But so yeah, basically the lady's all like, yeah, can you take him? We're like, all right, you know, and like this like 40-year-old like Russian dude like gets on the bus, and we're just like, hey, you know, like have no idea if he works for Burning Man or like who he is. But the second the bus starts going again, Little B like knows we made it past the gate, so he instantly just starts slamming on the bottom of the bunk, like, yeah, let me out, come on, like let us out, and, like just. We're just like looking at this guy, like he's like wondering like what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And so we just like had to go for it and just like let everybody out, and like all of a sudden like 3 more people pop out, and this guy's just kind of like looking around, but like
he couldn't say shit.
He didn't say shit. Yeah. Like, but then like yeah, we basically all made it in smooth, but it was like so sketchy, and we basically never snuck people in since, because it's after going that year we realized how worth it is to just get a ticket and go, and how devastating it would be if you got turned around at the gate.
Yeah.
But then like at the same time, another good part is when that lady was checking out the bus, or no, not her. Once we drive in, some dude,
the greeters,
we're like driving through, you know, and it's like nighttime, and like art cars drive around at night, but you're supposed to have like mad lights on your stuff, and the bus is all painted up. So some guy's like, hey, where are all your lights? Like he thought we were our car. We're like, oh no, we just got here, you know, like we're just trying to go to our camp. He's like, all right, I'll guide you guys over, and he's got like a little light, and he's like in underwear. That's it, like so like purple underwear, dude. Like he's just like so happy, you know. And we're like, all right, like guide us. And he's just like, have you guys like never been here or something? And we're like, no, like this is our first time. He's like, well, why do you have this bus? And he's just like, we're like, oh, like snowboarding and stuff. And he's like, you've never been to Burning Man, but you have this bus. He's like, this is a Burning Man bus. And then we were just like, basically home, you know?
Has the bus been on any other trips since?
No, not the last 3 years. It's only
just gone to Burning Man.
What's Burning Man? It's got too dusted out.
So dusty.
Have we really done nothing else?
We've done something.
Like Reno trip.
On my birthday,
Yeah.
we like took it to a bunch of places.
Well, it
That was
also
like 3
started
years
having
ago.
some problems. Like it started like we had electrical problems that were like fuel pumps were like not working right, and we kept burning out relays. But then this year before Burning Man, rewired a bunch of shit and actually got it working. So now we're planning to do more trips.
Oh, like snowboard trips this winter?
Yeah.
I want to
And get a
Mexico.
little-
We're
do
talking
a little
about going to
bit of,
Mammoth like next
do
week or
interior.
something.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Mexico, man.
For the winter? Mexico winter trip?
The vegetable
I wanna
oils
have
probably work
surf.
better down there.
Yeah,
You don't? Nate and I surf a little bit. I'm learning. You haven't surfed before? Have
No,
you been
I'm
to
trying to
Cancun
learn.
and with Forum and stuff?
Oh, I did not surf there.
Oh, you didn't surf?
Can't swim.
I can't swim.
You can't swim?
I can't.
You can doggy paddle.
You never learned, or you're just not good at it?
It's a little bit both.
Surfing's really fun. I mean, it took me like a lot of times going before any day clicked, you know?
But that's the next move. Once your knees
Yeah.
start to hurt, you're getting old, you gotta start surfing.
Yeah, I lived in Huntington for like 5 months and tried to learn how to surf and just still feel like I can't.
Yeah,
I lived in Long
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah.
Or like, and we'd surf on Seal Beach, like Sunset
Yeah.
Seal, or Bolsa Chica, like North
Yeah.
Huntington.
Yeah, Bolsa Chica, we go there a bunch.
Beginner spot. That's
Yeah,
where like,
17th Street.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I like would surf.
Yeah, I remember the first day I tried, it was probably like, it was like legit like 4 foot waves, you know? That's
Yeah.
what like Surfline would say. And then like I thought that was like mellow back then. So I remember going out and just getting so played and just like understanding how people like break their necks and shit because I'd like fall forward and like scorpion and like
Yeah,
wanna,
get like full, like,
yeah, I didn't know to like go with it at the time.
Yeah.
And like yeah, it's in the swimming part, like paddling out is like the hardest part.
Oh, it's so tiring.
Yeah, so it's
That's
like
what happens to me. I paddle out, and once I get past the break, I'm just so tired I just want to go back in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm done.
yeah. My best days were probably when the waves were so huge I didn't even try to paddle out to break and I just rode the white water.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the most fun.
It's like, I don't know, because snowboarding, unless you split board or like do something like you can take a lift,
Right.
it's pretty mellow. Or like skating, you just start skating. But surfing, there's like a whole process to get out
Right.
before you
You
can
should have
get
seen
in
this
position.
kid today when we were splitboarding. First day,
Yeah, my lungs.
I set a very slow pace, and he was taking 2 breaks in between every break I was in.
It was
And I've been smoking 6 since I was like.
Is that you and
14.
Jason?
yeah.
And you're still powering up.
Yeah, powering. He doesn't even
It wasn't-
smoke. bro.
How long have you been splitboarding?
What do you mean? I just-
What? Our splitboard trip to BC. Should we drop some of that?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's when it
I
started.
fucking tooled on you guys on that trip.
Yeah, well, we went to BC with Tanner Hall.
Ski boss.
Me, yeah, and like his gnarlier friend. I don't remember his name. Moss something.
Oh yeah, Moss. He's like some.
It was like me,
old-head,
Tyler,
legendary
Kid, Dylan. And that was
Mad
it,
Dog.
right?
Mad Dog.
And
We went
Mad
to
Dog. Who's
British
his peer?
Columbia. Where in British Columbia?
Revelstoke.
Oh,
Where were we
sick.
going? There's
No,
a
but
really
we
crazy
were
spot.
splitting on Rogers Pass.
Oh yeah, but the area. I guess.
Yeah, Rogers Pass.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be pretty mellow. I think every single one of us had cried during that trip. It was fucked up.
I held it down. I was the only
No.
one who didn't.
It can break a
down.
man.
We were
there.
waking up at 2:30 in the
No,
morning.
it was 4:30. It was.
It seemed like 2:30. I never slept. Driving to the mountain, and I was all good going up all day. But at the end, the worst part for me, end of the day, you can't snowboard. It's like a little not steep enough. You have to ski. I felt like 20 times within 100 feet and just started crying. I've never skied in my life. I just cross tips, just go over. Couldn't do it at all. My knees don't work like that.
Yeah, because basically it was like ice up until like 9,000 feet. So we'd basically just have to split board for like 4 or 5 hours before
Vertical.
we even hit like good snow.
It was fucked.
Up there, snowboarding.
Yeah, we started in
None
the
of
dark,
us-
came back in the dark.
Tanner's just like
Yeah, so there's
gone. Like,
Yeah.
so
Like powering up.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
see, I would keep up with them. I'd be like tailing them, and then these guys would be like so
Yeah, me
hit
and
up,
Zach would
like,
stop, roll up cigarettes, just
giving
like,
up.
You guys are.
I had all my camera gear and my tripod. I just had like a
Yeah.
I
lunch
took
in
the
the
camera
backpack.
bag most of the
No,
day.
and Zach had like such bad skins; they would like fall off his
And
skis.
I
and
hadn't
shit.
skied in for so long, and then I get there and Tanner just had like his whole old setup, so I was like first time skiing again, touring, and like he gave me boots that just didn't have soles in them or anything. So like first day I get blisters on both sides. Like,
Blisters
a few
are so
days in,
bad.
both sides of my heel of both heels is bloody socks. Like at the end of the day, like
Yeah, I don't know how you
So
did that.
fucked up that like one day I started hiking out and like 45 minutes into the hike I was just like turned around, like I had to go back. Like went to the boot store and had it like molded and put soles in, but it was like
Mas.
Did Tanner ski or snowboard? I heard he's been doing some snowboarding.
He was skiing.
He's skiing. He's on GP board though too once in a while.
Yeah, didn't he go to Superpipe this year?
Yeah,
Was he
Tanner
riding?
can backflip a snowboard like first try.
Yeah, he's
geez.
like on Gremlin games too. He's riding snowboard the whole
Sick.
time.
There's a couple skiers like that I know really. You know, like Jossie Wells, and
Yeah.
he's like rips on a snowboard.
Yeah,
like,
and
He
I
would
wonder
learn
if
it
Rory
too,
could.
too.
Yeah.
He was snowboarding a little bit.
I feel like Rory could.
The Henrik
Rory
was, like,
Silva?
a double
Yeah.
board.
I've never
I
seen
stayed
him
with
on
first
snowboard.
time I came out in like this area. I stayed with him.
That's-
Like it was like
We had a crazy trip in Barcelona with Rory. Didn't really know him that
this
well.
last summer.
No,
or a couple
when
months.
we go to Europe.
Last
We went to
Yeah,
the
2
GP
went-
Euro
not last
trip
year.
for
You went to, like,
3 or
Andorra and
4
stuff?
months.
Yeah.
He just came with us, and I didn't really know him that well. And he's the most
How's that
awesome
Nico?
person.
Sick. He was funny. It was like a friend, and we were like staying at his house.
He was very intimidating, but really funny.
Rory.
Yeah.
Catch him on the right vibe.
Rory used to always snowboard or ski grenade, just shoes and Superpipe.
Yeah, he was like sponsored by Grenade. You guys always like. I
He
mean,
still always goes to Super Park with us too. It's fun.
Yeah, Rory's the
Every-
one and only.
Rory got the most viewed Instagram on Superpipe this year.
all the redirect,
Yeah.
like
When
the
he
unintentional redirect.
When he knuckled the fucking step up. All drunk trying to hit it like
He's
this
probably
first
favorite.
time, just completely undershot.
Hey, he grew up with like his dad was homies with the Mohawk guy.
Lauren Blake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a photo with him
Buck
from
Silva, his dad.
SIA.
Buck Silva.
But
You guys have always like, you've had skiing and like.
Our
soup
first
kitchen
video
stuff.
was skiing, snowboarding, and then we
Yeah.
sort of stopped because kids stopped skiing. sort of.
Until like
We didn't know
Matt-
any good skiers either, really. We didn't really hang out.
It was
with
more
anyone.
just like, yeah, it was never like discrimination. It was just like everyone just was like snowboarding. I was filming, but then like we met Mad Dog synced up with us, so like, you know, we started like filming. Just,
yeah, it's like
everyone was
if
just
you're a
going to
friend,
whoever,
it
like, I was
doesn't
never
really
like,
matter.
Yeah.
thought like,
And then Tanner just came to a Gremlin games, like one of his friends invited him, and then once he
yeah.
saw that whole thing and met everybody, he was just like so down for it.
Sick.
And just,
That's
like,
That was the
Mad
first
Dog
time we
with
met
the
him. I
ski
remember
boss.
that. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
You synced him up?
Yeah, no biggie.
yeah,
I've been
man.
hanging with Tanner for days.
So since
I
you guys are all Vermonters, I think you were kind of digging the feeling the burn, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Max.
Max has a bunch of pins with Bernie Sanders.
Bernard Sanders, yeah.
Bernard.
He's got Bernie. I started with Bernie on talk radio in 2005 on Tom Hartman's show every Friday at Brunch with Bernie. He was very outspoken. He was the only person against the Iraq War.
Yeah, like we've
Yeah.
all like known about Bernie before, even though he was, he was a Vermont dude, but
Matt Homie shit.
yeah, he's basically been like a known name to
Yeah, he
all
had a
Vermonters
reputation
for a long
in Vermont
time.
just for like doing like proactive good things
And a
for the
people
state,
person.
and just like
Yeah.
a people person. Like everyone who knew him had good things to say.
Yeah, like so when he started running, it was definitely just like so nice to see. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was just like, and then it seemed like he had so much momentum, and like in my eyes, was like definitely gonna win the primaries, and just
Yeah.
when he didn't, it was just like
Yeah, I couldn't believe
so
it. That-
like unbelievable, and just basically made me at least like feel like all that shit is just fucked and rigged and not even worth bothering.
People
to,
in
like, be a
Vermont love
part
him
of.
though. He's got like 80% or 86% approval rating with his constituency in Vermont. So it's not like he'll ever leave office there. He'll always be doing his thing like he always was.
I was super excited to see him doing well.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first times that I was really like, this is going to be
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Something big is happening. We're moving in the right direction.
It was like a real person, as a
Yeah.
candidate.
Yeah.
The first time.
He wasn't a millionaire or billionaire or anything. He like,
Yeah, I feel that.
knew what struggle was. And like, the more I found out about him, I was like, fuck, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited.
His
Right.
stepson is the team manager at Burton.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dave Downing.
I heard.
Driscoll, that's what it is. Or yeah, why did I say that? That's not the right.
Dave Down is the other dude.
Yeah,
still
he's
works for
the burn
Driscoll
rider.
is related
Yeah,
to Bernie
Driscoll.
Sanders?
Driscoll is
It's like his
Driscoll's mom is
wife's
James
son.
Sanders.
Oh, levels to that shit.
Yeah.
He's got ties to snowboarding.
He's got ties to snowboarding.
Yeah. And it's weird, like I love Bernie and I show a lot of support for him, and then like a random person will talk to me about him and like try to talk shit on him. It's like, for one, I love everything he's about and his views on things, but it's like, it's also my friend's stepdad.
Yeah.
But which makes me, like people hate Donald Trump and shit. I mean, at the end of the day, there were probably people who say I love you to Donald Trump, his kids maybe or something, but.
Maybe.
He probably needs to hear that more.
He has no friends.
Donald Trump.
I listened to some podcasts like this, but it was about Donald Trump, and it said that he had no friends.
And he eats candy in his apartment alone. Right?
And he only coincides with his, or he only talks with his kids.
It's weird he like tweets super late at like 3 and 4 a.m.
Tweets tough.
He watches Ryan movies. And
he tweaks on the tweet.
Candy.
Yeah, that's really weird to me.
And it's like early morning, you can tell he just like wakes up and just like tweets in bed.
East Coast, so it's like 4 our time, 7 his time.
I mean, he doesn't.
I think 4 his time.
To do.
I think 3 and 4 his time. Local time. Yeah.
Russell Simmons was his friend for a long time, which breaks all of the racism things. Russell said he separated his friendship with him about 2 years ago, though. But I mean, here's Russell Simmons, like a yogi, a meditator, kind of like an enlightened being, who said, "Yeah, like that old Donald I knew, that was a cool guy." That's the biggest thing I can look for a feather in his cap out of everything that I see that he does.
Yeah.
Who's Russell Simmons?
Looking
Like the
for
sketchy
something.
guy in the tight pants.
No, that's
Russell Simmons started Def Jam.
Simmons.
Oh, now I can't remember his name. He's got the hair. He's got he's the workout guy.
Yeah.
Russell Simmons. That's Richard.
Richard
Simmons is who you're thinking. Russell
Yeah.
I
Simmons
thought you were
started
talking about
Def
him.
Jam.
I was like, I don't know about that.
Russell Simmons was like Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons started Def Jam. Right?
Yeah, and Russell
okay.
is cousins with one of the dudes from Run DMC.
Well, that sounds good.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
hope
with
for the
Red
best.
Run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
They had that show.
Yeah.
Hope for the best out of the man.
Oh, Don?
Donald.
Donald.
Like E40 says, the Donald is on the what? Or the
goo.
The goo. The Donald's on the goo.
He's like, they make the whole like video of him like his jaw kind of going. Looks like he's all gooed out.
So with Bernie, I did some Facebook science when you were saying like he didn't win the primaries and you were devastated. I wasn't devastated because I thought that the other Democrat was pretty corrupt and would do whatever she needed to do to get it. But my Facebook science gave me exponentially more people that had liked the Bernie Sanders Facebook page than the Clinton page. Clinton was in the single digits, and Trump was just barely into the double digits, and Sanders was well into the hundreds. I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but amongst my group, it was
like your friends.
Yeah, amongst my groups, it was very clear.
Yeah,
who most people were leaning towards.
Yeah, so I guess that's why.
The thing that sucks in like Bernie's sport is voter suppression, and only 46% of America voted in this election.
Right.
So, as much as people might like a Facebook page, they need to get the fuck out and vote.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bernie pushes for legislation to make voting a holiday.
That's a big thing. Like,
Alaska I don't know if they passed it, maybe they did, but Bernie was pushing for it that once you're 18, you're registered to vote. There should be no.
You don't have to go out and actually
you show up at your polling place and vote
because you're over 18.
Yeah.
I know. I was talking to Lane. Lived in Nevada for the caucus, and it was like the day of the caucus. He's like, "I'm like, you gonna do it?" He's like, "I can't do it. I have to work." And it's not like a holiday.
Yeah.
It's not, and the caucus takes a lot of time. It's not like going and filling out whatever. It's like sitting in a room and you discuss before the room votes, essentially.
Well, where was it in Arizona too? They had one voting place for over 100,000 people.
That's insane.
So basically people waited in line for 8 hours and still didn't get to vote because the day was over. And so it was just shit like that went down. How could you ever think it's a democracy when people waiting in line can't even vote?
I was at a Bernie rally at Fairfax and Wilshire, right where Biggie was shot. And there was a big RV, Black Men for Bernie and Compton for Bernie and all this crazy shit. And there's this dude who rolled up homeless man. He asked me for a cigarette. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, people at this rally will like give you the shirt off their back, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, are you going to vote for Bernie Sanders? And he's like, you know, if I could vote, I would. And there's so many people in this country, you know, he has a felony for whatever reason. Probably part of the reason he's homeless, you know? And that's a lot of even what Bernie talked about, criminal justice reform, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that like a simple like weed offense can like really screw up your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like pretty sad. And imagine if all the homeless people in America voted. They don't have a voice, you know, it's like old people vote. I think that,
or like ex-cons or like felons, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, people should be allowed to vote. You know, it's like,
I know that's like in other countries, like people that are in jail, like felon ex-cons or whatever, like they can like president or political candidates will have debates in the prison because they're allowed to vote no matter like whatever happens. Whoa. And so like the prisoners be like, what are you gonna do for me? Like, how are you gonna my life? I'm trying to get out of prison to fix my life. What are you gonna do that's gonna help me?
That's insane.
You know? I think it's like televised and stuff. It's crazy.
I mean, these guys have even traveled more than me. I mean, I've like stayed in the country. I've been to almost all 50 states.
Yeah.
To see that even the diversity in this country, but it's like, yeah.
There's another thing, going back to your point, like where there's that polling place, all those people. I was listening to this thing the other night in India. India has like 800 million voters, or whatever. But there's a law that a voter can't live. A polling place can't be more than like a mile and a half away from any voter. So they'll go in like deep in the jungle in some of these like temples and set up a polling place for one person to vote.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And like, it's insane. Like people have to travel for days.
Yeah. So it's like they go out of their way to like help people vote. And here they go out of their way to like stop people from voting.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it comes down to, I feel like.
Yeah. And they're making it more difficult.
It's funny,
voter ID laws.
I've been talking with our distributors in Korea and then one of our homies in Norway, and the latest emails from both of them both brought up Trump, and they're like,
really,
yeah, they're both like the one from Norway, he's all like, or no, wait, he's Sweden, but he's all like, oh, like how's Trump land, you know, like at least you guys got those weed laws passed or blah 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 and this and that, and it's like, you know, he's like, I've been following the whole thing, you know, it's crazy, and then the other dude from South Korea, he's like, yeah, like I've seen what's going on over there. He's like, you guys realize like we're in a similar sitch because right now they're trying to like more or less impeach their president or whatever. It's like this woman who like has been like basically like telling all these people like classified information or something. And there's like over 100,000 people in Seoul doing like protests for like the last like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And shit. And it's crazy because more or less they, you know, all know about what's going on here. Americans barely know what's going on here, nonetheless another country. And whenever we travel, it's the same thing. Like when we were in Japan last year, it was like people were like, how do you guys like Hillary, you know, like you guys seem like hippies, you must be Democrats, like why? We're like, we don't like Hillary, are you kidding me? Like, yeah. And then we're like, we're all about Bernie, and they're like, who's Bernie? They like didn't even know, and they're like, and you can tell how like the rest of the world sees it, you know. But like, yeah, it's definitely not the real news.
The shit that's on Trump. That was just
like, they see Trump and Hillary
up on their news too.
Wow.
And then that was just another point to it's like, yeah, like Bernie didn't even really have a real chance because he's just so suppressed on so many different levels.
Yeah.
So it's like, why even bother pretending like we live in
just
democracy?
How far he did make it, that was what was almost crazy. Because like, it's like I'm almost from the beginning just saw all that shit as being like just bullshit, kind of out of my hands. I don't even know. But then as soon as you saw Bernie like getting involved, you're like, whoa, this is actually like a person who really does care. Like worked his way through all that stuff and is like actually like, I was like, if he wins, I was like, then that totally changes my belief on everything being corrupt.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I was like, if he wins, then that really will make me be like, wow, like,
but then again,
I do trust the system.
Trump
what they're saying,
like a week before the election that it was rigged, and he won. So what does that say about the election?
That he's the biggest, like,
the Illuminati put him there.
Yeah,
they knew.
Yeah, it's, if I was, with the electoral college the way it is, if I lived in a swing state, I would have voted for Hillary. Plain and simple. Yeah. California, I wrote in Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. Not that it mattered really.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Hillary won popular vote, and votes, like come in later.
Yeah,
and she added like another 2 million, 1.5 or 2 million votes
right now or something.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I always think if they had started the count backwards, like started in California, if the time zones went the other way, if it would have been a different election.
When people thought someone else,
I've never thought of that realistically.
Like she started in the lead, and then people who vote later kind of sometimes want to vote for a winner.
Yeah.
Well, just say the voting thing too, even though that's like, I don't know, I still kind of just picture like that after seeing it all. It's like, yeah, that shit doesn't even really, like, the voting clearly isn't real. But then on another level of like with the media, how it is nowadays, how there is like all kinds of independent media and social media rather than just the news. Mm-hmm. Bernie was able to like get his voice out and say all these things, and all these people are responding, and then it like made everyone realize like, oh damn, we do have like mad of our people like backing this and really like passionate about it. So if anything, that just like got the gathering to like realize who is all about it, those things Bernie's talking about. So now, whatever election goes on, president, hopefully that doesn't affect too much, but those people, if Bernie, that mindset, that drive just keeps going, and people just do the actual like, what he was preaching from the inside out, like.
Yeah, and he was packing stadiums. Like people couldn't get into full stadiums when he would speak on some of his tours. And
I didn't get into the Portland one.
Yeah, there's a later picture. It was when Bernie was already out, but it was actually the day that I lived near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, about 12 miles from it. And Trump was packing wherever he spoke over here. It was packed, and there was somebody posted a picture online of where Hillary was speaking at the same time. I think in like Ohio or something. And there was maybe 100 people, and they fought to have that picture removed from the internet like crazy.
Those people were probably like paid to go.
Yeah.
She's crispy.
And that's why it was just so fucked when he didn't win the primaries in my mind, because it seems so obvious that he had the popularity like behind him, or the most people.
My mom and my dad are lifelong Democrats, and I've voted blue since 1998. But my dad believes that, like, basically her stepping down to Obama in 2008 was, Democratic National Committee's deal for her to run this time.
Yeah.
There's no changing that. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz and her had that whole deal.
No matter if Bernie showed up or not, or anyone.
He brought some issues to the table, which is the best that he could really do.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys read her emails that were public?
No.
I did not.
I don't care about her emails as much as she voted for the Iraq War, and she hasn't been consistent with like gay marriage.
Right. But then even if you go in, so the media did a great job of packaging that into one issue. Oh, her emails. Quit talking about her emails. Go in and read the emails. Anybody can go to WikiLeaks and read them. It'll blow your mind. Like, she directly communicates with Lynn Rothschild, and her tone when she's talking with Lynn, who's, this is the global elite, right? The Rothschilds, the billionaire families that are accused of, running all the global banks. My dear Lynn, what penance do I owe you? I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Her tone with her is that she's very subservient to her. Her tone with anyone else is just, like a boss emailing them. Then there's a bunch of other stuff that gets really deep into the weeds, but it's all there for people to read. And that alone was a reason enough that I couldn't vote for her.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I honestly can't say that I would rather have Hillary than Trump, because I think that she's better at manipulating and causing global problems than Trump can even really imagine. Like, he's obviously fucked, but like, she's been fucked, and she knows how to pull the strings to make shit more fucked.
I think she'd pick a better Supreme Court nomination, though.
I agree.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's agreeable too. But like, I'm not saying I just don't want either of them. But like, I feel like Hillary definitely can easily mess shit up just as bad as Trump's gonna.
Yeah. But Supreme Court justice is a lifelong appointment, and
it could be 3 or 4. It's like kind of a lot. Could
there's
happen.
some old heads on that.
Yeah,
on that bench.
I mean, there's one that's open right now that
the Republicans have just roadblocked one of.
They're waiting for this. They're waiting. They're banking on Trump.
Yeah,
or someone getting
the old.
I just hope Trump talked all this talk just to win the election, and now that he's president, he's just kind of going to listen to
like kick a-holes for his cabinet, like the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. Yeah, says that, like, good people don't smoke weed. Like, I mean, we legalized weed and everything, but Jeff Sessions is clearly on a federal level going to like try to shut down shops in Colorado, like
California, Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it was like from 2008 with John Ashcroft, the Attorney General under Bush.
Right, and they went after people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
it's shitty either way. It's basically shitty either way. They're both gonna fuck shit up, just in different ways. You know, like
Jeff Sessions is a bad dude.
I feel like Trump might be like worse for America directly because of what he's gonna enforce, but Hillary was probably worse for like
the planet,
the long time world like economy type shit.
I think she believes in like climate change a little more than Trump too.
Yeah, but she also just like has been like, you know, like a career criminal starting like wars and all that shit, and just like
she's like okay with fracking a little bit. She's lightweight, okay with
low key.
I mean, she's obviously okay with whatever the Rothschilds or whoever tell her to be okay with, you know?
Have you ever
like she's like just a puppet and like to whatever the, you know, that whole thing.
What is it?
Have you looked into Comet Ping Pong? It's like
Pizzagate.
Trafficking, human like triangle trafficking that she's supposed to be involved with.
Pizzagate. That's kind of what I was referencing, and I'm scared to take any stance on it. I've read what I've read in those emails that would sure make someone potentially think that they're involved in something like that, but I don't want to publicly say that I know. I mean, there's not concrete evidence of them being in this pedophile ring, but it sure looks like it.
It's so weird. I listened to a whole little podcast about it, and it's fucked up. But yeah, I don't know if I believe it either, but it sounds
don't
weird.
Believe anything.
The age of misinformation we're in here.
They got a rogue status or a company. They like switched to DTA. Don't trust anyone.
So basically, what I like to think about after all of this, you know, is this conversation, all these fucked problems, is basically the main reason why we fully back the whole like Sababa thing, because in our minds it's like we are trying to get as far away from that as possible. But we're so naive to even how to live like that because we weren't brought up like that. So it's like our first step would be to try ourselves, you know, to try to learn like the basics, grow your food, not have power, you know.
Trial
and it's
run like what you could do.
Yeah, so all these people say it's like, oh, like what can you do? Like vote for him, do this and that. It's like, well, fuck all that. Like I know, like if at the end of the day, like because we had this spot for the last 3 years, I'd be a lot more successful growing a vegetable garden now than I would have been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like what I think is going to make the differences in the world. You know,
it's just people. You know, there's people who want to stock up on canned foods and like think it's a zombie apocalypse, and then there's people who will try to work together and combine their minds and come together.
The zombie one though.
The zombie apocalypse
I like the zombie one.
Yeah, you got the zombies.
Do we like The Walking Dead?
For Christmas, my grandma gave me.
That's I like the whole aspect of everyone eating.
It's like 300 days of meals that will last.
I guess you guys are pretty prepared for that.
Bucket.
I'll be ready.
My grandma's all
ready to go meal.
Well, that was like the idea of like being able to survive on your own, being able to have a place to go and figuring things out.
Some of our friends have the GPS coordinates of Saba Land in case phones go out just to get there. Amazing.
But they haven't been there?
No, they've been there. But in case like phones get cut out, some crazy shit happens, you just need GPS shit, get the fucking old school shit out.
The cord. And just head for the hills.
Yeah, head for the hills.
You mean look at a map?
And we got the only ways to get
longitude, latitude?
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Yeah, you look at a map.
Well, I know how to get there. I don't know. Like, Migs told me that. I was like, oh, that's cool. You're doing that.
And so you could like send them to other people.
So we had some. Speaking of Migs, we had some user questions, and I know one of them was like, "What does Migs do?"
Yeah, Mike Happy Bauer asks, "What does Migs actually do?"
Kid, good. Answer that one, kid.
He pulls a bungee on time, but he might be retired from that.
Migs
holds it down.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Like.
A lot of time. He's a professional organizer.
He used to like ship out all of our shit, like run the whole shipping game of like.
So anything that was ordered off the website, like he would take the order, ship it out. So once when we were traveling, like he just held it down, and he's gotten to know like the ins and outs of the business almost more than most of us, you know, because he actually sees and like
get like the labels and all that. Like now that we're doing it, it's like for me, it's like learning it.
Even
seeing all the shit
inventory.
he was doing.
Yeah.
Inventory, folding the shirts perfectly, just organization.
Yeah.
And like big thing is like he used to come out with us like on all our rail trips and shit. And then he would just like stand with me because I'd be like filming. It's just like
He's just
like so funny to like have like
He's
so
like
much
moral
better to have a
support.
homie like showing.
Yeah, or he pulled that bungee for hours by himself.
Oh, he'd be out and like pulling the bungee.
He'd be shoveling, bungee, like
Seven
just a
generators,
video.
everything.
rolling out.
Seven Springs, he had a mean side front side turn. Ooh,
Yeah,
that shit was
yeah.
hard. Shit was tough out there.
He's just mad like reliable too. Like he's just like
You can count on
you
him.
could like hit him up at like any time of day if you like were in a shit situation. He'd be like,
right there
you know,
within
he would help if
seconds.
he could.
Sounds like he's the glue.
Yeah.
You could say glue aspect for sure.
It's pretty glued, except for he just moved.
Oh, where'd he go?
Except for he's actually living in SoCal right now, yeah, with one of our other friends.
I
who's a
felt
Trump
bad
supporter.
when he moved. I was like, "Who's gonna pull the bungee now?" Was my first question to him. I felt bad.
He actually moved and then he came back and like was here longer than he had actually been away.
Yeah,
he
that's
comes
what it
back
seems
all
like.
the
Yeah,
time. He
he's back
stays
up.
at my house for like 2 weeks at a time. and
Yeah.
He's always back.
He was just like the homie since like Rutland, so like we all moved out here, and he was just kind of like still back there. And we're like, yo, just like come out here, even if you don't snowboard. It's like
Who gives a
same
shit?
shit as us being in Rutland, and like hanging out with us there.
Yeah.
He's kind of dummy good at golfing too. He goes hard, long story short.
Maybe that's how you monetize Sababa Land, is put in a golf course.
Yeah.
Nard's already fucking lost playing balls down
Yeah,
there.
just, like, not
Yeah,
hitting
and
the ball.
Thumper eats some hole and just not good.
It's like
Thumper the dog.
it's like extreme. There's rattlesnakes, there's mountain lions, you know, you might get killed.
It's like a mini golfing, but kind of extreme.
But there's golf balls
going
that
through the
dog
gold
eats.
mine.
I've done some golfing in Carson City, and I've seen a lot of rattlesnakes just on the greens and everything. That's like one of the scariest spots
Damn.
of golf.
Gnarly.
Yeah, a lot of rattlesnakes down there.
But GBP, we have a lot of friends that don't snowboard whatsoever. It's very common in our group. Just our main pack in
Poetry,
Rutland.
rapping.
A lot of people don't snowboard, and they just all want to come and hang out with us still. Which I like hanging out with people I grew up with.
Yeah.
I don't like meeting new people that way. Like I'm a pretty sheltered person. I don't like meeting new people or anything like that.
We got a big. We got,
Yeah, but once
No
you
new
meet
friends.
someone new,
day ones only.
Not like that, but it's like I like my friends too much.
Yeah.
Like I'm good.
Me and Nico went to like preschool together. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I lived at kid's house for a bit.
It was like,
Day one.
Probably why you had to have a hard time at Burning Man.
like
That's what
him
I'm
and
saying.
Matt.
I can't go out there with a lot of people.
yeah, but he says this, then he meets someone, and I've seen him be like,
I came back. I just was on the hill for 7 months and made 3 new friends at GP
Yeah,
the other day, which was cool. GP keeps bringing people in, which is awesome.
Just like you don't know how to swim, you don't like meeting new people.
Like I never met Nard, and he synced up. Like so many people just synced up and it was in the group eventually.
Yeah.
Nard, Johnny, a bunch of people. They're like our best friends now.
So I think that we'd be remiss if we didn't ask about where the name Gremlins came from.
It's basically Lucas. Like
Yeah.
used to love that movie because he's like just like a fucking mischief causer. And then when we were filming or whatever, and somehow we like didn't know what to call the next movie because there was the one like Rutland, which and then next thing you know, like that's at least how I remember it.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
remember that.
He was down there living with Justin, Anthony, Lenny, and Big Bear, and they were kind of like filming, and like we were filming, but they were like we all had the plan to like combine the footage, you know. But they were like,
Florida who came up with it?
yeah, like that whole crew down there. I don't know when, like, but I know from my perspective,
Pretty
at
sure
one
it's
point
Florida.
they were like, "Yo, like we should name the movie Gremlins this year," but like they were already all
Cordo down
like
there.
talking that down there, and like yeah, Lucas really is like fucking Gremlin.
Like I remember being back in the day, Lucas got knocked out at the skate park, and his mom was out of town, and he was staying at like his great aunt's house down the street from us, and I went and spent the night with him because he was all played, and we had to like wake him up throughout the night and shit because he's all concussed still, and he basically just stayed up all night watching all the Gremlins movies like back to back, and he would just sit there and like eat
Yeah, he,
fucking
like,
popsicles
he
and
loves,
just get
like,
like so
tracking
hyped on like the Gremlins movies, you know, like he just loved like little like fucking like. He's like a movie head, and that was like one of his favorite movies. And so then once he saw like the relation between like our snowboard movie and the pack.
Oh, and their whole thing too was like how in the Gremlins when they jump in the water and it expands, it was like Lucas moved down to Bear and like our group was expanding because he met those guys and they were just such homies right off the bat that like the pack was expanding and like just like we were just hyped, you know, to be out there like making another movie and just
Yeah, and then it just stuck for sure.
Yeah, like we haven't really like been like making like shit that says Gremlins or like videos that are called Gremlins anymore, but it's like everywhere you go, everyone's still just like refers to us as like the Gremlins.
Yeah, like more.
Do you not like being called the Gremlins, or?
I don't mind it at all.
I don't think it's that like.
It's whatever. It's just like part of it now.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely like there's definitely plenty of people out there who have like a bad image.
The only
of
like
our
bad
group.
thing about the whole shit is there's so many of us, and so like people like we meet and stuff that like I don't know, people start getting like confused with like who's actually like involved, and like you kind of end up catching a rep for like kids like doing like stupid shit sometimes that aren't like part of the crew, but they're like. I don't know, like it happens like quite a bit.
Right.
That was even an issue just when it was GBP when you were kids, right?
Yeah.
Like wasn't there an issue like trying to just wear GBP stuff at middle school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just separated me and kid in school for years until I dropped out.
We couldn't be in like
and
you
couldn't have GBP because they said it was a gang. So
it was just GB at that point. Actually, I mean, like once we did it, we started like making mad like wristbands, like just like spray paint.
Lucas loved that too.
Yeah.
Whenever he like came back, like Lucas lived outside of Rutland, like 20 minutes outside or whatever. And I remember one weekend, like
we like told him about GBP and like want like squad and shit. And then like the next time we see him, we just had like bandanas all like made for us, like just like green bandits on.
He just loved like the gang aspect of it.
Where's the next generation of dudes doing what you guys are doing?
Shit, all over. There seems like so many.
Really?
I don't really follow that much shit. I don't really know.
Ain't no one doing what we do.
I feel like we are trying to put people on to follow us.
I know there's kids back in
youngins.
Rutland who are definitely on the whole, like, you know, film with your crew of friends at the mountain and skate park.
No, there for sure is. Like, we got an email just like a couple days ago, these kids in Siberia who were like, yo, like, check out our video. Like, you guys, blah, 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 like, are like inspiring to just go out and film with the homies, like fuck all that other like industry type shit, like you know, more or less these kids were straight like in the streets, like just like hard knock life. It looked like just sending us their videos, just like hoping we would watch and like respond, you know. And then like
that's the shit I love. It's like so much of the kids like hit me up through like Facebook or like random shit like Instagram, like just would like check the video out and shit. And it's like I never go into like Trans World or any of those sites and watch like snowboarding, but like I always watch those kids videos. I'm like way more entertained by just like the kids. It's always like mad funny and like I don't know, I just like can relate more to like that kind of shit, and I get hyped up. And I'm always like hit the kids back and like
it's more real because you know it's just like them and their friends, not like some like put together team or some shit.
Yeah.
But then, like Tyler was saying, there's like the Japan homies make like miso soup edits.
Yeah.
And that shit's pretty funny. And like, I don't know.
So for one last question, because we've got to wind up here. What advice would you guys give to that like 16 to 18-year-old kid who's sitting in high school or maybe just out of high school that just feels like this isn't right? I got to get out of wherever I am and I want to go do something like what you guys are doing.
I would say out of pocket, drop out and just hang out with your friends.
Definitely not. Tyler, get into this one.
Yeah, I think a lot, but I just think as far as like what knowledge I know now, I wish I knew younger back then is definitely like just embracing the whole sustainability and permaculture. Like if you can seek out things to do like that, like there's all kinds of like work away farm type things or like But obviously, like the thing we got going with our friends, I would recommend that to everyone. So it's like,
that's what I
basically
always
like
say.
stick with your crew and like, we'll try to work together.
Don't try to like go and like do like get part of like someone that's like already like made it or something.
Okay.
Because you're just gonna not end up like being your vibe most likely. Like if you're just trying to reach out to some like big company that could, I don't know. That's just not how we did it, but it
Work
could work for
towards what
some
you
people, I
love.
guess.
Do what you love and follow your dream how you want to. And I'd say finish up school.
Nico, you kind of went all in.
I don't like it. I wish I dropped
Not
out
necessarily
sooner.
go to college, but try to get some education in some sort of way.
So just like keep doing it and just don't get like discouraged, because a lot of people kind of just like get discouraged and it's like just got to keep trying. I feel like it was like the main thing with us. We weren't like trying, because we were just doing it for ourselves. Like we weren't like trying to make videos at all in the beginning. We were just like fucking around and just ended up like working because we were just all stuck together and kept putting out shit.
Yeah.
And people that try to tell you can't make it or to do something different, take that and go harder towards what you're going to do and to use that energy and just go for it harder.
That's so key. I mean, I can think of multiple times in my life where I've been working a path, and as soon as you commit to working that path, it seems like somebody jumps up to tell you that's stupid or you shouldn't do that. It's so weird how that's happened every time you kind of make a decision like this is what I'm going to do. Then there's a person or a hurdle that pops up, and just realizing that problem is really a good sign.
Yeah. And that could possibly be in their aspect is they're either jealous or it could be a parent like wanting you to follow their steps or anything, but everyone's different. So you just have to follow what you want to do.
I think too, like a big thing is trying to understand where your motivation is like coming from. You know, like people are motivated to film snowboarding for so many different reasons, you know? And I think a huge part of it is like you got to realize where your motivation is actually coming from. And if you don't really know or like haven't thought about that, the next thing you know, you'll start losing motivation because you'll be doing something that you're not actually like motivated to do like deep down, you know, for like the right reason.
So key.
So yeah, just kind of like reflecting on like what your actual motivation is and making sure it's like you're okay with that after, because sometimes you might be like, that's kind of a fucked motivation.
Did you see that?
What?
I don't think that's what it is.
Oh.
What are you talking?
Just a group message.
But yeah, I mean, that's like, I get that way all the time. Like, I like question, like, why am I even doing this? Like, what? Yeah. Like, this
I always like doing the opposite of what people tell me. Those are my friends.
Yeah.
If any like the worst with police, because that'll get you in some bad situations. But I always try to just feel the opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's trying to knock you.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's like to live how like we want to, like snowboarders or how you guys want to live is not how everyone lives. You know, you guys
so
are
many
pioneers
aspects too. Like people will be talking shit how you dress, how you talk, or what you're doing for work, and like there's so many levels. Like I just want the opposite of what you want me to do.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't seem that happy if you're gonna talk to me like this.
Yeah, they can't be like.
And
I don't disrespect anyone. I show you respect, but you're just gonna talk down on me now. That makes no sense to me.
I think a lot of people throughout the years too, like don't understand or like like what exactly our shit is.
Like, it's changed so much. That's why it's like hard to say, because like in the beginning it was so much different, and like we were like
the real story at GBP started.
We were starting like doing so much different shit. Like
kids, the real story. This should be on the podcast. The GBP story, how it started. Dinner party, my dad and our homie Kyle, who's a firefighter in Redneck now, spray painted his shoe green. And
they spray painted Hannah's shoes green.
Yeah, one of the girls.
This girl, actually, her name was Hannah Green. That's just pure coincidence. But they spray painted her shoes green when everybody was inside, and she came out and put them on, and it was like, what the fuck? And then somebody was just like, oh, it was Green Bandits. I don't know who did it.
And that was you guys. That was like how I was born.
It was literally like
crazy.
Like nothing. But then what we liked about it as we grew up and started getting more into the sustainability side of things is that it's kind of like a play on that because you can be like green bandits, like because kind of how like the whole Sababa thing is like green life, you know, kind of or whatever, like green revolution, but it's also like semi-illegal to even live off the grid in the U.S.
Yeah,
you know,
like
stop all that. So it's like you almost can't live like a green life without being like kind of like an outlaw type bandit. Wow, because it's so suppressed.
There's just so many like building codes and laws. And the thing about Bernie Sanders too is like he's written letters to people in Vermont who built airships. Like he knows what an airship is. How many politicians out there actually do? Who knows? You know?
Yeah. And those things all the time are getting shut down because they don't meet building codes and stuff like that. To have like that fully sustainable unit where you're off the grid and everything, they don't want that. And like that, they went to the airships and made them put in like whole landlines and roads and.
You went through hell and back to get those.
Getting back to the question of like, what advice would you give a young kid who's trying to do what you're doing? You know, because I mean, snowboard because you love it.
Yeah,
and that's the main goal.
Yeah,
because it makes you happy. You know,
well, snowboarding.
You're gonna have other things in your life that besides snowboarding that should fulfill you. You know, like sustainability and these other things, especially for snowboarders because the sport depends on it. As far as winters,
we do.
You know what I mean, it's like
that's a big thing. People I like talk to that don't
art
care.
Of flight, it's like how much fossil fuel they use in that thing. Thanks, Kurt Morgan. That's my dude though from Albany, New York.
Boys, I think that's a perfect place to end it. I thank you guys. You are beautiful people. Like I feel like you're all enlightened beings.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Great talk.
I'm stoked. Like,
I was nervous coming in.
Oh yeah,
it was great. This was awesome.
About the 30 back.
Huge thanks to Nico for setting this up. Initially, we were going to talk with Nico one-on-one, but he decided that it would be better to include as many of the GBP crew as possible. Big shout out to everyone that we met at the Parts and Labor Trade Show in Colorado. We made a ton of new friends. We met with previous podcast guests in person. We were able to record some new episodes, and we got on the snow a little bit too. More to come on the state of the trade show world on a future episode. But to encapsulate the vibe of the show, Salty Peaks owner Dennis Nazari said it best during the wrap-up roundtable session when he said, "This is the rebirth of snowboarding." Until next time, peace.
I listen to every single episode.
Shit.
I might be one. I don't know if a lot of people do that, but I listen to every single one. I had too much time on my hands on the phone.
Waking up all the time.
Catch me on 20 gigs deep every month.
It's funny too because basically we definitely like sit around and have conversations like this quite a bit.
But I'm glad that you guys are getting going like that too, because I think hand in hand with the whole like awakening thing, it's like like conversations like this.
It might have rebuilt all of us back too.
That direction generally.
And that's another thing about GBP and like how I was talking about the motivation, because I do a lot of the bullshit that sucks, emails and all that stupid order forms and stuff, and it's like half the motivation of the stuff is the fact that like it all started with just the partying and whatever footage and just whatever, but then at the end of the day we captured this audience of kids who looked up to that. But then as it slowly transforms into like a sustainable green thing, that now they're hopefully gonna like
motivation
behind like into like
stuff
that whole
out there. It's
thing.
like you have that back.
And snowboard generations are crazy. I've sat in Mount Hood and I've like
just being a teenager.
I see like Russell Winfield, then like Danny Davis, and there's like multi generations. You know? It's like, always like information, things like that get passed down to each generation.
Yeah.
And the kids that watch these videos are gonna be awesome. Like I'm 10 years older than all of them. I went back to their house and they have like grenade stickers and like all this shit. They're like, I probably made them at the grenade warehouse.
Like Lane was like my favorite person to watch back in grenade movies,
like,
and now he's just like homie.
He's a homie.
Yeah,
good dude. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing is you grow up to realize that. Fuck all the snowboarding aside, he's just like
it goes. I think like that.
He's a good person.
Lane?
Yeah,
he's the ninja.
I like
who I moved to California with, and like the craziest thing about him, I don't know, it would have been cool in the podcast to talk about. He can make a snowboard, build the park, and then ride the park.
That's
do all three.
That's hard. He can do it all.
Like he's heavy in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no one else
can anyone else claim
there's
that?
There's no one else there.
They can build a board, build the park. He can make snow for the park.
He
can groom it.
Or like do a switch.
Yeah.
Snowmaking.
He can. Yeah.
He's out there.
He can do a switch line through the pipe.
Yeah.
And he does it as like a humble human being, you know. And he does it as being like humble as well. You know,
I was so intimidated when I first like met him. Like started working.
Yeah, I asked Lane about you. He had only good shit to say. I'm like, fuck.
Sick.
When
when
will his be on the internet?
We did it
a
year, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Nate.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do another one though.
You should.
Oh, Lane wants to interview Nate and I.
Oh, that'd be
wants
tight.
to like
flip the script.
Yeah, he's like
That's
keeps
hard.
saying that, and then so we might have another one with Lane.
Nice.
So we've had an episode with him.
You can do Lane every week and I listen to it.
I can talk to you guys.
I want to hear you guys. If you ever interview him again, I want to hear the old grenade stories. Like, just like the old fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like
have him
not
break down
snowboarding
Lane's
podcast
edit with like a little like talk. That'd probably be good for you to do even. Like,
Yeah.
But a little voiceover, like what's that commentary?
That was like Lucas was in Mammoth for a whole summer, like when he was 17.
Yeah.
In 2006 when we were editing Chronicles of Gnarly. That's a
great movie.
Huh?
Great movie.
That shit. That's where
Mike Jones
the
edit?
GBP movies.
Oh,
you know
that
how
was
we had them on repeat. Just because of
Chronicles.
Chronicles, because we realized how many times we ended up watching that movie because
Do you ever notice that?
We put in secret edit after that too.
Keep looping.
And that's because of Chronicles. When we were younger, we were like, "Holy shit, we watched
They'll
it
play 5 times
way too many times."
Yeah.
I think it was part of too, like this dude who did the fucking DVD programming for like the main menu and all that, like couldn't figure it out or was like fucked up. I don't know.
I always like rewatching because there'll be so many like it's kind of long, like all the soup kitchen, they're like fast cuts.
Yeah.
And you'll see a clip of like, what was that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I pause it and like, who's that chick? Like, you know, like whatever.
Oh, that's what you want to see.
Or just like whatever clip of like some gnarly thing happening, like.
Or just like Migs doing something funny.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa, what was that?
Sometimes I put edit us like a soup kitchen, and then at the end, people was like their favorite shot was just like some random thing, like Migs did it, like just sitting in his bedroom.
Or flipping a bottle or something.
One of my favorite shots is the one where Migs is like in the mirror, like putting his hat on, you know, like so, and then he just like gets it right, and then he's just like, he's just like beat drops, yeah, and he starts doing it so hard.
Got the job to be done, so you got to do it even a little mile. Yes, the promise. Profits up for all, set the weather.